morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You've just had a coffee, so I expect you to be full of energy. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. Really over the next 20 minutes or so, but it will be 20 minutes, I promise James. I'm going to share some thoughts with you on the future of the store, and really more particularly on how the digital era is impacting stores and what needs to be done to store designs to maintain their relevance. Now that's a very broad topic and I'm not going to be able to cover it in 20 minutes, but I hope some of what I say will strike a chord and create some interest. If you want to know more, then my colleagues Lindsay and Michelle are outside at lunchtime. So we've seen a lot in the press about the poor state of retail health, on the high street in particular, and we're also aware that store footfall is falling. The retail traffic index figures for February, created by Ipsos, were the worst on record, down 7.8% on last year. Many fear that it's the arrival of the digital age that is sounding the death knell for the physical store, that clicks are killing bricks. Thankfully though, I'm not one of those that doubt the value of the digital era. I actually see digital technology as a catalyst for reinvention of the store, but by itself that isn't a given. In the current downturn, the temptation for retailers is to cut costs by delaying refits, by shrinking staff numbers, by reducing stock, curbing training programs, and sacrificing service levels. If they go down that route, they risk throwing their differentiation away and encouraging shoppers to focus on price and convenience, and thereby playing into the hands of online retailing. And by doing that, that will accelerate the demise of the store. It's clearly time that now that we're in a multi-channel environment, to take a fresh look at the role of the store, and I'm in good company in thinking this. In the words of Ron Johnson, ex-senior vice president for retail at Apple and now heading up J.C. Penney, he says, "A store has got to be much more than a place to acquire merchandise. It's got to help people enrich their lives. If the store just fulfills a specific product need, it's not creating new types of value for the consumer." Let me be clear, physical stores still have a lot to offer. They remain, in my mind, and always will remain, the most important touch point in shopping. But the role of the store needs to change to play a full part in this multi-channel environment. Simply transacting is not enough. So, where does the store score over digital, and how can it be capitalised on in this ongoing role? I just want to take you through some of the strengths and build upon them. In stores, you have the irreplaceable ability to touch, smell, feel, inspect, try on, and interact with physical product. It's obvious. To gauge the height of a lamp and how it will fit in your bedroom, the texture of a suit's fabric, the clunk of a car door shutting, the weight of a duvet. And retailers are failing their customers if they keep merchandise behind glass cabinets or in boxes. Accessibility and interaction we know through the research that we do at Ipsos, is a highly valued part of the in-store experience. We've all fallen for the tasters at the cheese counter and the location of tactile cashmere jerseys at the front of M&S. Apple is seen as a pioneer in this regard. What they did in effect was to translate the concept of trying on clothes into the equivalent in their own environment. And they found that customers loved the freedom to explore products by themselves and to test out the functionality. The concepts proved so popular and so successful that all small electronics retailers have followed suit and are providing access to live products. The second strength of the store really is instant gratification. Deciding to make a purchase can be exciting, and our research confirms that even in the most pleasurable, can be made more pleasurable if you can take away the goods with you. So instant gratification is what people want in everyday life. Having to wait for delivery even one day from an online transaction detracts from that exhilaration. Coupled with that, in the store of the future, accurate and intelligent stock management is therefore more important than ever to make this happen. Accuracy is critical because customers probably have done a bit of research and know that you have product availability when they come into the branch. And their trip will be wasted if they get there and to find you haven't got something. That counts against the store and against the retailer. Intelligence involves knowledge about purchase quantities and patterns. Knowing that a customer typically buys 10 square meters of floor tiles and only having 8 in stock is only going to lead to disappointment the time your next customer comes into the store. So coming away from a store with what you went in to buy and get is another area where the store wins over online, potentially. The third area is personal advice and professional advice. By the time a customer nowadays enters the store, the chances are that they've done some online research. They might know about the product, they might be done a brand search, they might have found the stockists, they will have made some price comparisons, and they will have checked out user feedback and ratings. So it's not sufficient, therefore, for staff in the store of the future to have just a sound technical training. Be a good start even today, but customers will expect more. The occasion provides the opportunity for the store team to build relationships and trust with customers and to respond to the customer's own way of thinking. So the role is a long way away now from the old flog it and scarper mentality of the car salesman. It's much more about a full CRM function. The importance of an edited choice. The digital age provides shoppers with a far greater product choice than before. But greater choice brings with it a downside. It makes decision-making more taxing, more time-consuming, and something that the modern shopper doesn't always want or need in their busy lives. In a recent survey by Deloitte, only 9% of respondents said that they wanted to see the full range of a product when they go into a store. So equipping stores with edited ranges, tailored to the local catchments and to the clientele, is something both the shopper and in fact the retailer can benefit from, because it means the ability to carry less stock and to reduce stockroom size. So in effect, less can be more. The aspect of the store of the future that gets the most airtime, though, is undoubtedly when it becomes set up as an entertainment hub as much as a place to buy, where it can build brand presence and value. Now, this isn't a new concept. Brands such as Nike have built flagship stores around the world of this type for a long time. But the concept has far more resonance in a multi-channel era because one can avoid the acceptance that those flagship stores are going to lose money. This is a picture from M&M World, just down the road at Leicester Square. 35,000 square feet of space, conceived to entertain and to enable shoppers to participate in a branded experience, as much as selling them anything. That's almost incidental. Clearly, not all stores of the future are going to be as theatrical and as extreme as this one, but making physical stores into something more than just a place to sell goods is part of the future. Nike Town have gone further than this in this development. They've done things like developing running clubs from stores, so extending the value-added content and provide a socialising opportunity. So it's apparent to me, anyway, that the future of the store is secure as long as retailers accept the notion that a store should add some value for customers and go beyond being a selling place. But the store of the future can build on its merits further by harnessing and embracing digital technology. I'm sure many of the papers today will talk about aspects of this, and in the short time I've got left, let me mention just three obvious applications that come to mind and that we've been working with, where technology can really help provide a refresh and a makeover for stores. I remember soon after the wall came down, walking through the streets in East Berlin, thinking that retailers were really missing a trick because they weren't using their windows to promote their wares. I now see the static displays of mannequins and pots of, or piles of saucepans in a similar light. I think we've become conditioned to them and we ignore them. Now that's not true when you inject digital screens, which can introduce dynamism and vibrancy with their strong imagery, and they draw the eye of the passers-by. They can go far more than that. They can be smart enough to change the content over the course of the day or according to the weather, so that they remain relevant to passers-by at all times. More powerful still, though, is the capability through face recognition software to determine the gender and age band of that passer-by as they stop, and stream imagery or messages specifically directed at that profile of passer-by. Beyond this, digi-screens are being built with the capability of interacting directly with the shopper, of taking sales orders directly from people perhaps passing outside of the store who don't have the time to go into the store, or indeed at night when the store is closed. Clever stuff, but it's an example of the way that digital is liaising and working with physical. The second obvious area in which digital can play a role is in improving and making over cash desks. The need for conventional tills and queue points is rapidly approaching its sell-by date. Self-checkouts, of course, already have a place, but beyond this, the likes again of Apple and Samorfa are equipping their teams with tablets that act as POS stands and are able to send out emailed receipts. This trend is only going to become more mainstream and enable store design teams to rub out the need for some tills at least, giving them more freedom to be creative and flexible in that valuable space. And finally, and perhaps more contentiously, the whole area of whether the store of the future will be equipped with Wi-Fi or not. You may feel it's inevitable because it's being provided free in hotels, airports and everywhere else you can think of. Why not the shop? Well, of course, there's upsides, as you all know. Enabling the shopper to scan barcodes, to access price comparison sites, for the retailer too to be able to send messages on offers, and to be able to track the behaviour of that shopper whilst they conduct their activity online, and potentially to track their actual movement in store. But mobile technology is very disruptive to the store journey, and for much the same reason that you don't see stores with clocks hanging on their walls, you could understand if free Wi-Fi never becomes a mainstream for retail outlets. So let me summarise very quickly. And it's a bit of a confusing slide, this one, rather, it's meant to be a summary, but I think it makes the point that what appeals to shoppers is that they want everything. They want the benefits and the advantages of digital, as well as the strengths of the store. Some of these match up and integrate with each other, and some of them are in direct contrast. But what's clear is that different customer segments will value different aspects of these different channels in a different way. In my mind, at least, the store will remain the key touch point, even in a multi-channel environment. And it will be thanks to the digital era that stores will be re-engineered in the way that other parts of retailing have been re-engineered in the past. There's no such thing as a new idea. These things come around and get reinvented. Clear to me that retailers should embrace the digital age. They shouldn't fear it. And as long as they change their mindset from thinking that a store is about how that the thinking should be how do we sell more merchandise from the store into how do we create a value-added experience. As long as they do that, they will continue to have a future in this multi-channel age. Thank you very much.